Hey y'all. Y'all saw that I started doing a book study for Brother Panic's book. So this is the second time that I'm going through and reading this one specifically. But I was like, once I got to I think it was the fifth law, then I was like, oh shoot, I'm not just gonna read this through. I'm gonna go through and really study, really study, because I think everybody needs to get this book. I think everybody at different levels needs to get this book, and it needs to be a book that you read over and over and over again. And I'm like, oh great, now I gotta get the other book. you know? And now I'm also taking the class on Patreon as well, Brother Panic's Patreon class. And like very interesting things are occurring. Okay, okay. Very look at me. It's like getting the bang perfect is a thing. I feel like it's kind of leaning, but whatever, it's fine. But different things are starting to occur, and I'm like, okay, what is going to happen? And so I'm just thinking, if more people were to read this and study it and really get on the practice of just full self-understanding and self-discovery, a lot of us would have better lives, and we would be able to impact the realities around just by purely existing in our own truth and doing what we can do now and existing in a positive space, because a lot of people are afraid of stuff that say dark power and dark this and dark that, and it's listen to what the message is, not what your ego is telling you you should be upset about. A lot of us listen to be offended, and you listen for a moment to respond and react quickly because you've been traumatized and your generational curses have taught you that when this thing happens, it's you have to be on guard because you have lived a survival life and you've had to fight and defend yourself. So now every moment your mind has been created to say, when is the next time I'm going to have to put my dukes up? When is the next time I'm going to have to fight? When is the next time I'm going to have to defend myself against something? So your mind is just in that space of defense and feeling like, oh my gosh, I have to be ready, on guard, just in case something terrible happens to me, you know? And so then anything that you feel could potentially be a threat, you're automatically ready to go because you cannot be a victim again because of whatever happened before, So, but don't let that stop you from exploring different things. I say, and I believe and I know that everybody can teach us something. You can learn from anything. You can learn from anyone. So, but and like me, I don't give a F about that. I'm all in. You feel me? But at the same time, something that I also really like about the book is he was one of those dudes that is just themselves, and that's the type of energy that I respect. I don't care if it's Candace Owens, because I respect Candace Owens, and I made a video about that, okay? And I agree with a lot of things she says as well. I disagree with things, but I disagree with things that I've even said in the past. So I also understand that you don't have to agree with everything someone says to have a respect and appreciation for them and the person that they're being. So there's that. And but with that being said, I really respect and resonate this book because he's not speaking in a way that I don't understand. There are a lot of spiritual books and different methods and thought leaders and teachers that speak in ways that it's what? It's just get to the freaking point. I don't need to hear your riddle. Just get to the, come on, let's go. You talk, you doing all this, but you ain't saying nothing. And Brennick is not one of those dudes. Just like Reverend Ike and Florence Scovel Shin, that and Jim Ron and Brother Panic is up there too. Once I read it again, I was like, oh yeah, this is on some stuff. So my favorite thought leaders personally are, and this is not in any particular order. It's Brother Panic, Florence Scovel Shin, Reverend Ike, and Jim Ron. Them. masters of their crafts. And they're all really saying the same thing, just in different ways. But I say that to say that Brother Panic's book is very in a line with like how he actually talks. Like he ain't trying to put on for nobody. And that's what I was talking about. Like I respect anybody that just is who they are authentically. And the book is written in a way that a lot of people I know actually talk. So it's the first book about this particular topic that I've read that sounds like it was from one of my uncles or a cousin or something, you know? So that I was like, I rocks with it. So I'm like, I gotta like really get into this. And I just want more people to support the legacy that was Brother Panic, because this is some real stuff. And, it ain't for the weak of heart, but like none of this is. None of this is. And a lot of people think that they're weak because of what they've experienced, but maybe you just didn't know your power. The animals that are in the cage are a lot more docile when they're at the circus because the whole time they was getting their tail beat. But it doesn't make you any less of a lion than those ones that are in the wild that ain't never been around humanity. You still a lion. You might just not know it. Maybe all of this crazy stuff has been happening to you because you don't know who you are. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the source of the problem of all of our lives, of your life. Maybe it's because you just don't know who you are because it's been beaten out of you by society or your upbringing or your childhood or whatever. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe you're like, come on now. Like sometimes the hypocrisy of what spiritual people be saying, like you created this. Okay, but unbeknownst to you at some point, there's some level of hypocrisy by stating like, oh, just think about it and it changes because nobody until this, okay, was telling you how to really get out of it. How to like just in language that you can understand, like not go into the forest, because if you don't live by a forest, you can't even start to think about that. Let's go into the forest and run around trees and whatever. And I'm not saying that that's not part of this, but what I'm saying is like he's speaking from the perspective of the average Black person, period. Like on some level that it's talking to your cousins, talking to your uncle. And if you read, you'll know what I'm talking about, because there's like a level of hypocrisy. I can't even, like, I'm like, when I get like really, then my mind moves so much faster than my mouth. So I'm trying to emit the specific energy at the same time. It's just a lot going on in my mind. I'm like, and my brain is like 7 steps ahead of what my mouth can actually get to. But there is like almost like a supremacy in books a lot of the time where they're speaking in a space where you have to have the dictionary next to you, or they just don't speak the same way. Like a lot of shows, another example, a lot of comedy shows now, I don't think are funny at all. But like if Cat Williams gets on stage, I'm gonna be laughing hysterically. But if it's like just like the average animated series, I don't think are hilarious, and they're everywhere. So someone must think they're funny. So it's just not my type of humor. But like Cat Williams is my type of humor. So like there are other books and I'll continue to read them. But like I'm gonna be honest, I tried to really get into the Yogananda Paramahasa book, and I got like a few of them, so I'm gonna read them. But it just like it wasn't flowing for me. Like I'm gonna be honest, like I was like looking at it and then I was like, okay, and I had to like read it again and again, and I still didn't really understand what he was talking about. And sometimes I think that that's purposeful. I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but sometimes I feel like it's purposeful to speak in a different way so that you're only attracting a certain type of mindset. And then sometimes people will see you as a higher level because you're speaking in riddles. And, when, and it might just be like a language thing with that particular book, but that just sums it up. But in this book, I'm like right there. I'm like, okay, that's what you're saying. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, this is what you're saying. Okay, that makes sense. But like I said, it's not for the faint of heart, because like some stuff he be saying, like to me, I'm like, it is what it is. But if you are like still attached to reactionary emotions because of your trauma, which, you know, I am not knocking, you know, it is what it is. And it is what it is. And that's okay. But I wouldn't be a nice person without letting you know that you might get offended in the book. You might get offended. But like, if you listen to a Brother Panic lecture, then you already know what's up. So I don't even have to tell you what it is. But if you are unfamiliar with how he speaks, you might be like, oh, okay, hard ER, double gut, you know, hard. But you know, this is awesome. So I feel like I'm definitely going to be reading this, like not reading it, because like most books I'll read them, like, okay, on to the next thing, read. And that's what I thought was going to happen here, because I just felt like, okay, I needed to reread the book and just keep it moving. But then I was like, wait a minute. So now I'm gonna go through and read, like, after I finish it again, then I'm gonna go through and like, just, I feel like this is just something that you need for your life. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. I feel like you understood what I was putting down, but this is just something that you should have. And he even says it, like, that's another thing. And I said that in the previous video about this book. Is like, he knows what's up too, because he'd be saying like this is something you're gonna pick up later and read again. Like, I already know what it is. And he's right, you know. And someone might look at the price tag and say like, oh my gosh, it's $100. Man, this book is I would, you know, I'm feeling like y'all better get it for the price go up. You better hope she don't stop making them, okay, and put that price up. So you better get it for the price go up. That's how I feel. So now I'm like, oh great, now I got to get the other one before it becomes more expensive. Because honestly, that's the type of knowledge that's in here. And she could do that. I'm talking about Khadijah. She could do that. She could say, well, you know, I'm about to raise these prices, because this is that type of book. We lucky she ain't charging $1,000 for this thing. And then I would have to save and get the other one. I'm telling you, I would. You know? So I think maybe they could do like a book study from their perspective of the book too. I would sign up for that. Oh my goodness, I would sign up for that. You know, I love to talk business, so I'm just having all these ideas. But anyway, I just really appreciate this, and I'm glad that this book is here, and I'm also thankful that they still have the classes available on Patreon. And let me tell you something, this is not sponsored, okay? I didn't even like reach out to like make this video and be like, oh yeah, can I promote? No. This is just all some real stuff, because I really feel this way. And like, the first time you read it, like when I first read it, it might, depending on where you are, because I wasn't where I am today when I first read the book. So it was like, okay, this is something, I felt like something was here, but all of the things weren't clicking, because there's so much as well. There's so much in it. And so I had like spaces that I had previously underlined and things. But like I said, one thing that I am overcoming is not like just doing stuff just to finish it. Like, oh, I'm reading this book just to read it, you know, I'm reading this just to read it. And now I'm in a space where I'm like, okay, I am reading and to know, you know, I'm reading to know. Does that make sense? So yeah, that's, and just like completing what I start is also something that I'm overcoming, because I came here with that, like, oh, look a bird. You know, that's just something that I arrived here with. My mom will tell you it's true. But at the same time, like, I know that I can evolve past it if I choose to. So now that's what I'm working on, is just like finishing what I start and really just showing up in the best way that I can and having more grace with myself. And like, this book really does help with all of these things. And the thing that I love about this book as well is like, and this Brother Panic as an entity, is that he doesn't hog information. I really like, there's certain qualities of people that I respect, and I say that in any video that I'm talking about someone that I respect. And he's not an information hog. Okay. He's like, this is another book. This is another book. This is another place. And though, as you're reading these books, remember to filter this through your own perspective. And that's another thing that I respect, because I feel the same way. You can't, and I say that in my videos as well, you can't just take what anybody says, including myself, and run with it. And that's something that I've had to and continue to have to deprogram out of my own mind. Okay, I'm going to be 100% 1,000, and I think that that's from social programming, social engineering at like schools and stuff, because when you're given direction in school, you do the exact direction. And there are some teachers who I've had from experience who, when you do the math problem in a different way, they get mad at you and you don't get points. Or when you don't show your work on the paper, they get mad at you and you don't get the point because you didn't do it the way that they showed you. Like, what type of power-hungry nonsense is that? And that's like in the Matrix, like everybody's involved. Your teacher could be the ops, because I know I've had a lot of op teachers. Hey, Howard County, I'm talking to you, buddy. Anyway, I don't even know why I got onto that tangent. Oh, yes, thank you. Because when we are learning things now, we have to get out of, learning to do it that particular way, because you're not going to go to detention this time. You're just going to live a unfulfilled life, which is kind of worse. So understanding that, those things were put into our minds so that it would be all next to impossible. Because if you're operating in that space, it's impossible to listen, to apply in your own way, because you've been trained to listen and apply in the way that it's been shown to you. So it takes a whole awareness and evolutionary process of purposefully doing the things that are going to help you become who you want to be. That also comes from, when I read this thing, I'm reading it to apply it to my own reality. I'm reading it to apply it up against what I know to be true and what feels right to me. I'm doing it up against all of these other things because I now am understanding and witnessing that there's something to this stuff. I ain't finna hold you nothing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm being so real. There's something to this stuff, okay? And this is from look, I'm holding it upside down. There's something to this. There's something to it. I'm telling you right now. It's very interesting. And it's like I said, you gotta read it multiple times, and you gotta be there in your knowledge mind. You gotta be there in your mature mind. You gotta be there in your, you know what? I'm missing something about this reality. I'm missing something. Something's not adding up. I'm getting to the bottom of this, and that's what I've been on a journey on. And who do I know? It's been on my shelf this whole time, right here. It's been on my shelf. So for real, this is the only book you need for real, in my opinion. This is the only book you need. Now you can get the other stuff, but this is the only book you need if you're trying to really get on some stuff like, how do I control my reality? Period. And you better get it before she raise the price. Period. I don't even, but I'm just saying, like I said, I don't even know them, but I'm just saying, you better get it before she raise the price, because this type of information is worth it. You can't pay to get what you get out of here. And it's not an audiobook, because these bad MFers was like, well, if you want it, you're gonna have to read it. And that has to have been done on purpose. But I'm serious. I got to get the first book. And I'm talking about I better get it before she raise the price. Don't raise the price, please. I'm just saying, don't raise the price until I get the first copy, the first book, and then you can do whatever you want. But you can raise the price when you want to raise the price, But I'm just saying, please, for me, don't raise the price, because I need to get that other book. Okay? I'm going to have to get that today. I don't know, but the point is, this is a really great book. And if you were thinking about getting it, you need to. And if you wasn't thinking about getting it, you should get it too. And, just be prepared for some real stuff. And then, really read what he is saying and seek to absorb it and enact whatever's going on. Enact it, and then take the class if you're feeling froggy. Look what I got. So it's only a matter of time, Patreon, that you're going to see me in that class next. Okay? I'm ready. I'm ready, Freddie. I'm ready, Freddie. Because let me tell you something. The reason why I'm acting like this, like, you might be like, is she really serious? Like, yes, I'm so serious. Because stuff has been happening. Like, for real. Like, for real. Because stuff has always occurred. Stuff has always happened. But stuff is happening. Like, for real. Like, for real, for real. So, you know, I'm like, you know what, I gotta go through this like one sentence at a time. And after I'm gonna finish it again, and then I'm gonna go back to chapter 1. And then, you know, like go through page by page, maybe a couple of times, have a notebooks dedicated specifically to this book, specifically to it. And you know, because like one thing that also happens with me is like, once I get into something and like, because I have all these books now, and then I like read them quickly and then I'm on to the next thing. But like now I'm like also working on just slowing down, you know, just slow down. I don't have to be on 10 all the time. And that is unusual for me because I've always just been a busy bee. I've always been in doing stuff out and about, just all over the place. And so the balance in that is like learning how to be okay, just like chilling a little bit, you know, how to not be stressed out and wound up and worried about what's going to happen next. You know, that's a detox for me, and that's what I'm doing. And I'm making conscious efforts to detox and be in a space where I just feel good and I feel balanced and I feel like, okay, this is great. I can do this. All right. And like this has been years of evolution as well, and like a lot of very interesting situations that have occurred in my experience. But I also know that the more you withstand, and you know, you either, like, here's the thing, you either have reasons or you have excuses. What occurs and happens in your experience is either the reason why you can't succeed as far as you define it, or it's either the excuse why or the reason to some level, but at some point it becomes, so this is where we are. It's either the excuse for why you're not doing whatever it is that you came here to do, or it's the reason why you excel because X, Y, and Z happens. So now you gotta do X, Y, and Z because it just wouldn't be right. You wouldn't be you if you didn't jump. You wouldn't be you if you didn't make this thing move and shake, even with, despite, or in spite, whatever, even with all of this other BS, because now you gotta get it. Now there ain't no excuse. Now you gotta get it, because then you gotta be like, yeah, what up? And that could be my lower self speaking, okay? But sometimes you gotta spin the block a couple of times and be like, yeah, I'm still here. You feel me? But that is a lower vibrational thing. But you get what I'm saying? Like, the things that occur in your life are either the things that are going to hold you back, or they're going to be the things that propel you forward, because you know what it is. You know that, okay, this thing happened, but it's not happening right now, and I still got to get it. And when I say like got to get it, I'm not just talking about like what traditional, like got to get it. Like, no, but yes, but more so like being okay in your space, being okay with your mind, because wherever you go, you're still there. So like, even if you try to run from yourself, you're always going to be with yourself, even with whatever else you got going on, you're still going to be there. So repairing that relationship within yourself and healing whatever occurred, because like you couldn't control who was with you or who might have put their hands on you uninvitedly, or who may have said horrible things to you, or what you've done to other people, or what you've done to yourself. That's the past. You can't, it is what it was, okay? But you have the opportunity to do new things later. All you can do is do better next time. So focus on that. Instead of focusing on, oh, I should have done this before, focus on being very, very, very aware of your actions and behaviors and the results of whatever it is that you've done and are doing. And then intentionally make better decisions one step at a time. And one of those ways you can do that is by getting this book, period. And that's why I'm making this video. But additionally, that is like one step at a time, just finding the little things that you beat yourself up about, and then just doing that little thing. Your better might be drinking 10 sodas instead of 15 in a day. Your one step better might be that. And that's a big step. That's the step in where you might want to be. And then perhaps now you drink 3 sodas in a day instead of 10. And that's a big step. And then maybe it gets down to 1, and then maybe you start drinking water, whatever it is. Or maybe you don't. And maybe you keep drinking your 15 sodas and what about it? You know, that's the important thing about this. It's just owning who you are. And if you own it, then you can decide, is this something I want to improve on, or am I fine with it? And then you can accept that being as you are. All S's and giggles and all. Good and bad and all. The good and the ugly. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not saying you should be whatever. I don't give a F what you decide to be. You are the one who cares about what you should be. And that's what makes sense. You know, you can waste your time in everybody else's life, but like, you have to control you. You have to be there for you too. You need you too. Everybody else needs you, but you need you too. Don't forget you when you bring up what you got going on and what needs to be evolved. Because a lot of times people be like, oh, I wish this would happen for that, and the world and this, the world and that. You got more than enough stuff you can evolve with your own self. You have more than enough projects and DIY situations that you need to heal from, that you can actually do something about, because that's how you stop feeling like a victim. You stop feeling like a victim when you look at what you have control over instead of what the world is telling you needs to be fixed. You ain't gonna feed every starving child in this whole world. You're not gonna do that, most likely, but you can feed the starving child in your spirit. You can feed the starving child in your soul. You can hug the abandoned child in your spirit. You can give attention to the neglected child in your soul. You can give your art back to the talentless child, or to the stolen talent child. You can give your innocence and your purity back to the child that it was stolen from. You can do that. You might not be able to do the big Christmas this year, but you can do that. You can protect the next generation that comes after you. You can do that. You are not powerless, okay? You might be powerless in this world, but you're not powerless in your own home, period. And anything else is an excuse. And that's what it is. Because now I done told you, period. You've done heard it. And what you do with it is on you. So with that being said, you know, y'all probably, this is crazy. Yes, she is. She is. And when she makes a decision, it's final. Usually. But with that being said, you know, I think that, or I know that if we focus on what we can control and impact, we will not feel like victims, because then we are focused on what is going on within me. I'm concerned with what's going on within me, what's going on within, after that, what's going on within my household, period. And then after that, what's going on with what I'm supposed to be doing. Am I doing what I came here to do? Yes or no? Yes or no, it's simple. Am I protecting those who came after me? Yes or no, it's simple. And if you ain't doing that, that's where you can do something. Oh, I gotta go protest in the street and obstruct traffic from other people who are just trying to get to work. I can do that. Or I can stop spending my money in businesses who have continued to disrespect me. And here's the other thing about like people that get on my nerves. Specifically, this is dealing with people of Black people. I'm not saying that nobody else does this, but this is something that really grinds my gears. It's like, oh, this we got to do this for the Black man, do this for the Black whatever, and then still supporting the clothing brands, because people say, oh, well, you can't do everything. Okay, but you don't have to be wearing the clothes of people that literally have monkey and noose designs, and you popping it like it's cool. Like, what? Come on, for what? Like, and then you talk about, oh, whatever. So, but you know what? I'm not going to get into that. The point is, though, like, you have to figure out where your power lies, and your power lies in protecting your energy and being who you wish you had for someone else. That's how you heal. Okay? That is how you heal your inner child, is being who you wish you had for you and for someone else. Because when you can be it for you, when you can be there for the you that's inside of you, because you see it translate when you're that for someone else. Like, that's why that is part of the reason. Oh, I'm starting to get emotional. Okay, that is the reason why I teach the kids. That's why I teach children. And I don't teach children like I do that for my own stuff. Like, I'm not a traditional teacher. I teach like clubs to kids online. That's my thing. I love that. I love that energy exchange. I love that because, you know, I get to be who I wish I had for someone else. And when you say that too, like, don't take that and run with it. Like, listen to what I'm saying. Everyone has something that they wish that they experienced, whether that was learning how to handle your emotions and be and know how to process what's going on. Like me, I needed someone to teach me how to fully process and help me through working through my emotions. And that is because of the generational curses that came down the line. And my parents did a wonderful, all of my parents, to be frank, and all of them, this, whatever else was going on was what happened. But all of my parents, all 4 or 5 of them, because, you know, the way that my family structure is, did a dynamic job at stopping a lot of really insane generational curses. And I have to just give flatline respect and baseline to all of the adults that participated in my upbringing. They may have had their different situations because that's how families are and things like that can happen. I'm talking about just general, all of my parents, everybody. And though they have all done very, very, very well in separating their children, myself and my siblings, from so much trauma that could have gotten to us. All of them did a fantastic job with that. Okay, boom. And though there are still things that I experienced that I see my younger siblings did not experience because my parents had me when they were young. So they were like 23 and they were both young raising a child. They were children. I still consider myself a child, like, to be honest. And that's just my personal thing. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but that's how I feel. And so there are things that, like, I can still develop from. And so there are things that I wish that I had someone to do X, Y, and Z. So now I do that. I'm the artist. I travel and vend my art, you know? Like, I bring my sibling, like one of my sisters specifically, because we do it together, and she sees the process of entrepreneurship in here. Like, you know, they see that. And then the students that I teach, whether it's Zumba or it's what's that, Imagination Land Club, where I do like puppets and we just like talk and vibe, whatever it is that I'm doing with my students, I make an effort to affirm everything that there are crazy ideas. I don't think that they have crazy ideas, but ideas that might offend someone else, because I remember I used to have a really sharp tongue and people would get offended by the things that I said. And so when my students say things that they're sharp-tongued as well, and I respect it, and I just be like, okay, cool. You know, when they need someone to just show their pictures to, I'm that person. I'm like, okay, whatever it is, like, because I also know my role. My role is not to be their parent. My role is not to discipline them and correct them, like, about little things. That's the parent's job, and the parent has to do those things, but that's not my role. I get to just be the big sister because that's what I wanted, was an older sister, not different parents, not a different experience, because everything that I've experienced for the most part was awesome. You know, there were some things I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I've had my fair share of interesting experiences, to say the least. And though, I still, I just look at it in a different way. I'm not ruled by the things that I experienced. There was a time where that occurred, but you get to a point where you just survive so much that you just kind of become numb. And also you become like, well, I'm still here. Somehow I'm still smiling, I'm still happy. Okay, so like, yeah, this thing happened. And yeah, this thing was scary. And yeah, this thing was not great. And yeah, this thing was, traumatizing. But okay, I'm still smiling. Okay, I can still be happy, and then I can learn how to control my reality. Okay, like we can with fire. And then you can really like separate yourself from it. And some people will say that I'm stoic. Okay, sure. Whatever the word you choose, or whatever you identify that as, it is what it is. But it's just like a process. And so my role with my students is being their big sister. I'm just there to listen. I'm there to say, yeah, girl. I'm there to listen to what happened at school with their friends. I'm there to, be there fully with the undivided attention. If they want to show me, like, that's how it even was with high schoolers. Like, if you want to show me your play and talk to me for an hour about this play that you worked on as a high schooler, yes, I'm going to listen, because I love that, because that's a beautiful thing. Like, you came up with a whole, what? you're that dude, because it was a guy. You're that dude, or if it's a young girl in my Zumba class who wants to show me the character she made on her watch, whatever it is, I'm there to listen. I'm there to support. And I think it's awesome. And so doing that has helped heal my inner child, showing up for them even when I'm tired. Because there are some days, because I still have a job. I have a business with my mom where we have hair care products and we teach classes. I have this channel and my TikTok. I have my art that I do, and I teach students additionally. And I care about all of those things equally. So I'm like, there's a lot of things that I'm doing. And though I am healing my emotions of abandonment by still showing up for my students anyway. Even when I'm like, man, if they don't show up today, I'm not going to be upset. I wouldn't, but not like, because if they watch this, I don't want them to misunderstand. Not saying that I don't want to be there, because I want to be there. I love working with my students. I really, 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 really do. Like, I want to make that very clear. And though there are days, just like if they were at school, there are some days where you get off and you're like, man, I just want to go to sleep. But I still show up and I still smile. And by the end of it, I'm like, oh, thank goodness I taught my class. Whew, because it always makes me feel better. And I know that it's also me healing that younger version of myself. In doing this, my inner child heals because I was there for them. I didn't leave them. I didn't abandon them, even when I was tired, even when it felt like, oh man, this is, whew. The truth is I'm tired, and then after, they always want to stay, like they never want to end class. And so some days, like if we didn't have class previously because it was a holiday or I wasn't available or they weren't available, whatever the reason, whatever it is, I'll be like, okay, fine, it's okay. Like I'll stay a little bit late, and it depends on what's going on, but sometimes I have to put my foot down and be like, all right, like, come on now, come on, we gotta go. But they never want to leave class. And so that also heals my abandonment. That also heals my different things. Like when because I'm also incredibly complimentary, because I also know that you get a child to do what you want them to do by complimenting those actions that you want to see. So I am very complimentary on good behavior and compliance, I guess you could say. And I really don't pay attention to the behavior that I don't want to see. I don't pay attention to it. So we don't have problems. I don't have any behavioral issues. It is what it is. My kids, I don't believe that there's any bad kids, because even when I was teaching, when I was working with high schoolers, and that was an amazing time too. I just love working with youth, because every moment I feel like it's a chance to just have a real impact, a dynamic experience. So when I was working with the high schoolers, there were a few students who stood out because they were just very, they had their personalities, very big personalities. And, we connected and we were cool. I didn't have the same, like other people would say, whatever they would say. But I didn't have those experiences with that particular person, that child, because, the way that I just am, especially when it comes to children, I'm just a certain way. And I feel like high schoolers are still children. And when you treat them like children, they behave like children. It's the truth. But because everybody just wants to be loved, everybody wants to feel seen, heard, and appreciated. And that's what I do for the children, period. And I allow them to just be children. Like when I was with the high schoolers, I would have the lights off, I had a dehumidifier. No, I had the thing that puts the fragrances in the air with the water and the oil. I had that. I had some little lights, and then I had like happy day or something, some kind of like little cute quote. And it was just a vibe. I had some like music. I would let them pick songs sometimes, like, ooh, just vibe out. So even when like one would like do too much, the other two would be like, come on, get it together. Like, what are we doing here? Because when you just expect, granted, it was a challenge at first. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie, act like it was Betty Boop, but we had to get there. I was like, oh, what did I do? Why am I doing this? I was crying. I was like, I can't do this. But then it ended up being one of the premier experiences of my entire life, was working with those students. Like, love them. And so now that I'm working with younger students, it's the same thing. It's just a little bit different because they're younger, but I am healing. So I healed the teen me. Now I'm healing the young me, and that's a privilege and just something that's so invaluable. And I was doing that, and the more I'm doing it and reading this book that you should all get, I am recognizing it as well, and just remembering just to show up in a neutrally emotional way, and just be there for them. Because when I'm there for them, I'm there for the young me. I'm there for that younger version. And like, that's what I do. I impact those directly around me. I volunteer. I'm out in the community as much as I possibly can, doing stuff. I'm putting my content out there, I'm not being a hypocrite. And I'm not holding anyone to a moral superiority standard. I say, be who the F you are. And if you're not happy with you, figure out how to be happy with you as you are now. Period. I don't give a F what you've done. But, I might not F with you, and that's my right. But I don't care what you've done. Perhaps some things I do care about. I'm not going to sit here and lie, but as a general statement, because I'm just not that invested in other people. Why? Because I need to be invested in myself. I need to be invested in what's happening with me. Because I realized, like, even with all that, I'm like, okay, I'm healing my inner child. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. But I'm still missing something. There's like, what is X and how did we get to 7? How did we get there? What is X? Like, because all the math isn't mathing. So all that to say, heal your inner child by X, Y, and Z. Whatever, even if it was like, maybe you wanted to be an artist. Like I was really good at art, and then I just like stopped. And I'll tell another story about that, but I just like stopped. I was dancing my whole life, and then I stopped. So now I teach Zumba to kids. Now I have my Imagination Land show where we have puppets. Now I paint on jackets and hats, and I vend. Maybe I'll start wearing some merch. And shirts. Like, I do it all. And I vend, and I go to festivals, and I heal my inner child that way. You don't have to teach children, is what I'm trying to say. There's so many options. When I cut my hair and went natural, it was out of contempt for a certain person in my experience as a child, and then I stopped getting perms, and it was a very uncomfortable experience. And so now I teach with my mom. First of all, she made an amazing hair care line specifically because of those traumatic experiences. And I say traumatic just because of what they could have been, not because of what they were to me, because thankfully I was around people who did not allow certain things to happen in my experience, period. So, but that being said, I am able to then evolve past it, and you know what I'm saying? So, but we now together have hair products, and we teach beginners how to take care of curly hair, whether it's a white mom that has mixed kids, or it's an adoptive mom who has children, or it's a Black mom who doesn't know how to take care of her hair because she didn't learn and she got to take care of her child's hair, or it's a single dad. Whatever the situation is, we have a very open space. We work with foster agencies, like really. So I'm out here doing stuff. So I know I can say this because I have a clear conscience. And I'm not trying to like toot my own horn. I'm just giving you examples. There was this one time, because it also don't always look how you think it's going to look. There was this one time where this lady moved into the street by the shopping center. She was just living outside. So I had this urge, and she's the only person that I know that who would be outside. So I had this thing to like get somebody groceries, right? So I did. And I thought it was for her. So I specifically got her like jugs of water. I got her sandwich making stuff. And I found things that did not need to be refrigerated. And I also heard plums, get the plums, get the plums. So I got some plums, and it was like four or five, whatever, bags of groceries. It was enough groceries that I had to walk out with both hands. And so I even got this lady pads, okay? Because I'm just like thinking about like, okay, this and this and this. So I'm walking around doing that. And then I pull up to her, right? And it's not even where you could just pull up and do this. Like, I had to go and make a U-turn to get to her and like pull up. So I get out. I'm all excited. I'm walking to her. I'm like, get the, go away from me! Get the, go away from me! And I'm like, what? I was flabbergasted. Like, excuse me? And I'm like, like, I got some groceries, you don't want the food. Get the, go away from me! And she's like cussing me the F out. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, like, okay, let me just try one more time because she must not have heard me. I'm like shaking him. And then I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna leave you alone because I don't want you to charge at me or whatever. So whatever. So I'm like, what the, man? Like, what am I gonna do with this stuff? Because what am I gonna do with all this stuff? Because I didn't buy it for me. I didn't buy it for anyone that I know. I bought it for her. So now I'm like, whatever. Now we're just going to be eating sandwiches. And so I'm driving, and then there's this old white man who looks like a Santa Claus on the side of the road with a sign. So I'm looking at him, and it's like that Stuck in the Drive-Thru song. Like, he looks at me, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and he says, I'm sorry. What did you want again? Come on. I said ketchup, and he said, oh yeah, that's right. Really spaced out there for a second. I'm really kind of burned tonight. Okay. Someone, I know, because the last time I made a Brother Panda video, someone was over here like, oh, she's so childish, and did. Period. And if you don't like it, keep commenting, because the algorithms. Period. But anyway, now it's stuck in my head. And he looks at me, and I look at him. Okay, but that's how I was looking at him. We was looking at each other because I was like, okay, I'm at a red light. And how am I gonna get this man this food if I decide to give it to him? And he's old. Okay, so what's he gonna do with it? But then I felt like I'd rather have the problem as a homeless person of how am I gonna get this food back to my house versus how am I gonna eat tonight? So I stopped, and it's a stoplight already, but I stopped, and I'm like, come on over here. And so I'm like, and the food's in the back seat, and he's over here. So I'm like, passing him the food or whatever. And then the light changes. And, part of me at first was like, what if someone like beeps at me? Because, the infamous beeping. Oh no, what am I going to do? But then I was like, you know what? If somebody in their privileged A car beeps at me because I'm giving a homeless person something to eat, well then beep MF or beep. I don't give a F. you're privileged A. And you know what? Nobody beeped. Nobody beeped. And then I was like, okay, maybe it was for him. He wanted the plums. So what I'm saying is, like, what you intend to do might not show up in the way that you think it's going to show up. Because I didn't expect the guy to do that. The lady, I didn't expect her to cuss me out, this black woman. I didn't expect her to cuss me the F out from trying to get her something to eat. But and then I'm like, well, great. Now I did all that. I got all this stuff. And what am I going to do with it? And then someone else was there. So perhaps he was the one who was thinking about plums and I just received it. But he was so gracious and he was just like, and I just drove off, because sometimes there's just certain things that happen where that it's just in alignment. There's a divine orchestration going on. That's what I call it, because I don't know what the F is happening. Anything could be going on, but it's orchestrated somehow, and somehow it's divinely. And what does that mean? I don't know either, but I say divine orchestration and I understand what I'm saying, but what is actually happening here? Nobody effing knows, okay? Someone can tell you what they think is going on, but ultimately everything we know is a hypothesis of someone else. Birds might not be birds. Birds might be fairies. Birds might be interdimensional beings who travel through space and time, and birds could be the protectors of the land. We don't effing know. We just know what the F we've been told. Everything you know is what someone else told you. So now I'm on a mission to discover my own version of reality, period. And that's why you gotta get this book. I swear they did not hire me. I don't even know them. Okay, for real. But you know what? I know what's up. I know what's up though. You ain't gotta know everybody to know what's up, but I know what's up. Okay, well, let me see. Do I have anything else to say? Let me take a swig. Oh yeah. And then, like, another way to know, like, what you can be doing is, like, what do people make fun of you about? Because people always used to say, like, I talk a lot. I'm not around anybody anymore who verbalizes that they don't like that I talk a lot, because I know I talk a lot. And I am not around anyone anymore who verbalizes their disdain for my speaking. And though, look at me now. I'm talking for an hour on YouTube, doing me, doing me. I'm talking to my students and they love what I say so much that they don't want to leave. I've gotten to the point where my students compliment me. I didn't even know students complimented teachers. Because I was like, this one time, I was like, oh man, like, they don't even be realizing what they be doing sometimes. But it's just like one student was like, I was telling her how good of a job she was doing, because she did do a very amazing job, period. And then she goes, well, you know what? And I was like, what? You're doing an amazing job too. And then she goes, I see you over here doing your best every day. And we don't meet every day, but she said every day. So thank you. I see you doing your best every day. And you're amazing too. And I was like, and it took, like, because I've evolved. I used to be a crybaby as well. So I've evolved past that emotion of crying. But if it was the me before, I would have cried, I think. Because it was just like things like that. So that is what helps me heal. So I do those things more and more and more. I'm seeking out experiences that are allowing me to grow. And so now I know that I've gotten to a point where I've done a lot of work intentionally. So I know that there's still more work to do. And what the F is going to happen now? It's like at the end of the movie, what happens next? I feel like that's where I'm at. Like at the end of the movie, what do you do? So they gonna see me in this class sooner or later, and I better do it before she raised the price. I better get on it before she raised the price. Shoot, cause you can't just be having this type of information out here for everybody. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready for this. I shouldn't even made this video. I ain't ready. But I hope you are, because I think, because it's just also like, you can be free even with whatever's going on in your reality. You can still be free. You can be your version of free. And what we are learning is that a lot of the goals have really been glitter dust. All right. Well, I think I feel there's like a sensation that happens after I feel like, okay, mission accomplished, and that's occurred. So yeah. Oh yeah, I'm starting a Patreon channel if you want to jump on. I don't know what it's going to be on there yet, so but I just feel like I should say that. I think I'm going to put some classes. I'm going to do like some more book studies probably on there too. For real, for real. Cause you know what I'm saying? Like on some real stuff, there has to be a reason why people put stuff behind paywalls. I have to say that as well. Because perhaps there's like certain information that you can't just give to everybody. You gotta pay to play, baby. You gotta come with it. You know, because he couldn't just give this out. You can't just put this on the intranet for anybody. You can't just do that, but you can put it out for those who seek it. Okay? But you can't just have this willy-nilly for anybody. What? I mean, who are you, the circus freak, to have access to free yourself out the cage? Who are you? Nothing but a starved lion. But you know what? There's a space where a starved lion could be a vicious animal. It could be vicious and get the F out that cage, or it can be sad and stuck there. You know? Because I'm telling y'all, like on some real stuff has been happening. Like on some stuff that I just don't feel comfortable putting here because I might end up in a crazy place again. So I'm just saying. You know, no, but real, like for real. I get it now. I get it because, you know, you have to have a little bit of skin in the game to really be able to understand what's going on in this reality. And because people always say like, oh, all you have to do is X, Y, and Z, but they don't really tell you how to do it. It's like, and then the things that they do say don't make any effing sense, you know? And it's a lot of people I know who are just in the spiritual game to make money and to lie and then only tell you half truths, tell you enough to where you know that there's something going on, but not enough to actually be able to wield it. Because see, one thing that Jim Ron and Brother Panic say, and what I say and know to believe is like, well, Jim Ron says, become a student of people, not a follower. And Panic says, become a teacher of people, not a student. So, you know, it's like same thing in different ways and different ways. But you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, though, like, it's important to like hear and then do your own thing too. You know, be a you know, but you can still have respect for what somebody's doing and still really get into that stuff. So yeah, it's just interesting. It's just interesting. And I always say it, but like the more I continue to evolve and self-reflect, the more things that I realize that I have to evolve and self-reflect on. You know, I thought it would get to a point where I was like, okay, I'm done now. I've done it. But no. No, that's not happened. In fact, I'm learning deeper things that, okay, like it's like the more you dig, the more you find. Now I'm like, oh wow, is this volcanic? What is this? Okay, well, let's get that out of here. We don't want that. Okay, oh, I don't like that one either. Okay. Oh, wait, look at that. Okay, put that back. Okay, I do like that one. Put that one back. You know, it's that, and it's like creating myself as the art piece. So that's why I do art. I vend, like I said, and I just purposefully do things that I like to do. And I do things that make me feel good. And I do things that will help me to live the way I want to live. And part of that is looking under the rug that you put all the dust in and acknowledging that and getting rid of it, you know? And you can either be the free lion or you can be stuck in a cage. And it's going to take like a little bit of time for your reality to catch up. Just like anything has to download. But just, you know, show up in the way you can and get the book, man. Get the effing book. Okay? And then join me on Patreon, where I think I'm going to get into like more, you know what? I got to raise the MF price. I'm talking about what they need to be doing. I need to be raising the price because, you know, I've been giving a lot of stuff out here. And see, I'm also working through that. Like Amanda Francis says, my work is of high service and worthy of massive compensation, period. It is what it is. And now I'm not going to price nobody out at the same time, but you know, I can charge a little bit more. I haven't even uploaded a video yet on there, but It's coming. I'm working on it. I'm just like letting the energy lead me into what needs to happen there. So I think it's going to be a lot more like explanations of stuff that I'm seeing and experiencing, and also things that I'm learning, because I'm learning. I'm learning about me, okay? And I'm not disappointed, okay? I'm not disappointed. You know why? It's because I'm purposefully doing things to improve myself, okay? And really clean my mind out. Like really like going through and like, okay, let's put that in the washing machine one more again. Let's do that one more again. And also recognizing that there's beauty in everything. There's it's I don't have to agree with everything that's going on, but I also don't have to be impacted by it either. So, whatever. Okay, I'm done now.